sentence, bec- uh, what came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
All the time that I was reading, like the almanac from Kabbalah uh, and all that beautiful but arid study that gives you a lot of structure and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ideas.
Yes.
Um, when you read this topic of the Tikkun HaZohar, for me at least, uh, it is like saying the work is to enter in this realm. It is not to dissecate it and to classify it. It is
Yes.
to do what you do, and I don't know. Uh, I, I do not know many people, but I do not know anyone who can do this like you. You know the real masculine, the real uh, Shem Klim, the Kli for the
Mm-hmm.
names and for the permutation, for the math.
Thank you.
Uh, so it was quite interesting to me think about this.
Thank you. Thank you. And I see here Rodrigo. Good morning, Rodrigo, and Felipe here is on YouTube. Good morning, Felipe. Good morning, Rodrigo. Shalom, shalom.
Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Fernando, and our friends on YouTube. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here one more day, Auntie. It's amazing moment and time that we have to talk about these higher themes. And so I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much, and shalom, shalom.
Thank you. And shalom, shalom. And let's.
Shalom, Rodrigo.
Shalom, shalom. Do you have questions before we start? Because I would like to continue what we have started yesterday to bring a summary from Bala Sulam and from Luria. Do you have questions or thoughts, impressions that you would like to share with us before we start? Something on your mind? Is it?
No, I am curious and ready to follow the lecture.
Yes, Auntie, I'm ready to follow you.
Okay. So here on the whiteboard, let's start with the text and then move to the painting. We have two verses from Exodus chapter 1, verse Aleph and Hey, 1 and 5, continuing to Daniel. This is a very major verse which we have started opening yesterday, but there's so much to open it. We just really open a little door, but there are many more hollows and palaces to open in this verse. So we shall read Daniel 12. Then we shall read the interpretation of Bala Sulam about the words Ve'ele Shmod Bnei Israel, and those are the names of the sons of Israel who are descending to Egypt. We shall see what is happening here. Few layers of wisdom, and then we shall move to two summaries of Luria. I hope we can take care of it, or those verses can take care of us, and then we can also ask a question and the relevance to the painting that we have here, Moses with the 70 sages. But this is really, really lateral thinking. Let's start reading the verses from the Bible. Who would like start reading the text? 3 verses from the Bible, 2 from Exodus and Daniel. Who would like to read?
I can read it if I may.
Yes.
So, Exodus chapter 1, Shemot. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who came into Egypt with Jacob. Every man came with his household. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. And Joseph was in Egypt already. And now Daniel chapter 12.
Yes, please.
And they that are wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, And they that turn the many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever.
Thank you so much. Now we shall read how Bala Sulam interprets, first translate the Aramaic of Zohar Shmot. In Zohar, let's look here. I would like to color the text here, see how it is working. Let's take a pen and see. This is Zohar with interpretation of the Sulam. Sulam is the letter. This is the name of the interpretation that Bala Sulam gave to his interpretation of the Zohar, because he says, why did he call it the letter, Hasulam? Because it is like a person who lives in a simple house, and all the treasures that he has are stored in the attic. But he cannot arrive to this attic, or he cannot reach this attic unless he has a ladder to climb on and to reach this attic where all the goodness is stored. So this is why he called his interpretation of the Zohar Hasulam, and this is why he is also called Ba'al Sulam, the master or the owner of the letter, the Sulam, because he wrote a corpus of 23 books just explaining what is written in the Zohar. So this is Zohar with Perusha Sulam, interpretation of the Sulam, the ladder, to reach the attic. Of which book? Shmot. Shmot is the second book of Moses, known as Exodus. Ma'amar is article. Ma'amar is just a composition of two words in Hebrew. Ma, Amar. What he said. Article, like in a newspaper. Ma, Amar. What he said. Those are the words. It means article. So article, Ve'ele Shmot. And those are the names from letters Aleph to Hey, 1 to 5. Let's see what Bala Sulam writes about the names of the sons of Israel. Whenever we have flag in green, it means this is a quote, or those bold words are coming from a quote. And if we click here, now I don't have it online connected, it pops and says what is the origin or what is the source of the verse. Ve'ele Shmot Bnei Israel. Vegomer is to continue to read the verse. They just wrote the beginning, not to take too much space on a paper. And those are the names of the sons of Israel, and continue. Hukshalo. Hukshalo, it was hard, but also it means a question. When he says Hukshalo, not just it is tough or hard, it means when a person writes something or says something, he has a question. So he says Hukshalo from Kushia. Kushia in Aramaic is a question. In English, it's the same sound. Please connect to the Kushite woman that Moses took. Kushite woman, Kushia. Though Kushite with kaf, but it's very, very deep. Hukshalo, it was hard, so he asked a question. Because the written, hakatuv, shehakatuv, what is written, matril, starts, be'Israel, meaning the verse starts with a name, and those are the names of the sons of Israel, but complete the verse in the name Jacob. So this is tough. Why, or this is a question, why the verse starts? Let's look again, pop into the origin and see what is here. Ve'ele Shmot Bnei Israel, and these are the names of the sons of Israel, Haba'im Mitzrayma, which are descending to Egypt now. Et Yaakov. Et Yaakov. So we start with Israel. This is a paradox. Huksha, Kushia, questions, tough, hard. Paradox. Those are the names of the sons of Israel, Israel. And why suddenly Et Yaakov? Why this jump from Israel to Jacob? Why in one verse? This is how the Zohar starts. Let's return to the Zohar. And וכן מה עניין גלות מצרים בפנימיות? And also what is the topic of the exile of Egypt? I will say it in English. And what is the inner exile of Egypt? Or what is the exile of Egypt within ourselves? Because it's not about a historical event. So he asked, how do we feel inside of ourselves the exile of Egypt? And to this question he brings the writing. Which writing? A verse from the book of Daniel. והמשכילים יזהירו. And they that are wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. Let's see what is the connection. With explaining this writing, meaning the verse from Daniel, those questions shall be understood. Now he explains the verse from the book of Daniel, והמשכילים יזהירו כזוהר הרקיע, and those who are wise shall shine like the shine of the firmament. והמשכילים, and then we continue what we have started yesterday. והמשכילים, the educated one, the wise one, הם אותם, are those המסתכלים, who are looking. Please pay attention to the relation between those two words. משכילים, educated from sechel, from the word sechel, we have the word school in English, or askola. Askola. It comes from Hebrew, the word sechel. Sechel is a mind. Sechel. If we add aleph to it, this is eshkol. Eshkol. Eshkol is a bundle of grapes. Eshkol anavim. So, we have sechel, mind. From this we have school, skola, skola. In Swedish there are many languages, but they come from here. והמשכילים, those who are educated, הם אותם המסתכלים, those who are looking. Please pay attention how those verbs are connected. The only difference here, shin turns into samech. Those who are educated has the ability to look inside. מסתכלים, to look, to contemplate, to ponder. בסוד החוכמה, in the secret of wisdom. Meaning, those who achieved השיגו, סוד החוכמה, those who achieved the secret of wisdom. כי החוכמה מכונה אור העיניים. Because wisdom is referred or is called אור העיניים, the light of the eyes. והשגתה, and obtaining it, achieving it, מכונה is called הסתכלות. הסתכלות. הסתכלות comes from to look in the eyes of the mind. הסתכלות, to look at, to ponder, to contemplate with the light or with the eyes of the mind. עיני השכל. עיני השכל, the eyes of the mind. Do we understand? Do we
Yes,
understand?
yes.
Questions,
Yeah, I get
questions,
it.
questions.
No, so good so far. He's speaking so that the maskil is the one who can look at the secret of the wisdom, right?
Yes,
He can he have this ability to look at the secret, at the
yes,
secret.
yes. The question is, shall I continue to read those little
Yes, for
excerpts,
for
or
me it's fine.
yes, or would you like to move to Luria or to ask questions? Because it
All
goes,
right.
he explained every word of this is the question. Do you need to look into every word, or just to have a little briefing from Luria? This is the question. What would you like? Because I don't want to just because I can do this, but I'm not sure that it's a conversation.
Hmm.
Eti, you are putting two pots of honey in front of us, and to choose is not easy for me. Any idea is
I
great.
believe that the way that you are doing is well to me. I believe that I can follow what you are reading. So if you could maintain the reading and the explanation, for me it's fine. And since we are uh, since we stopped the reading, I just want to mention one thing, if I may. Uh, when you read these two words, bisod ha-chokhmah,
Yes.
uh, I just realized that the value of this expression, besod ha-chokhmah, is 150. 150. And it's 10 times the Ya, the 15, the Abba Ve'ima, the Ya, the two first letters. So I believe that the Besod HaChokhmah is this continual copulation, this continual marriage of Abba Ve'ima. Just came to my mind. Sorry to interrupt, but for me it's very
It's
well.
excellent. It is excellent. It is excellent. So we shall continue. Yes, because I would like that you also will choose if you would like to, because Luria is completely what we did yesterday, but Bala Sulam explained the relation between the eyes and the mind and all of the question is, would you like to go through this path or just to go through the text?
I would, yes, I would like to listen from this text that I never saw before. So for me, it's all new, brand new,
Mm-hmm.
and shiny. So if you could continue a little bit, you can stop wherever you want, but just to take the frame of thinking from Baal HaSulam, I think that would be nice to go a little further.
Okay. And achieving the wisdom is called histaklut, pondering, contemplating. Yazhiru shel shine. הוקשה לו, there is a question, it's hard. הוא שואל, he asks, why Daniel says yazhiru from Zohar. Here we see in Daniel, והמשכילים yazhiru, and those who are wise, they will shine. Zohar. And he says or asks, Hukshalo, it is hard, there's a kushia in Aramid, a question in English, why? Hukshalo, it was hard for him. Lama lo katuv yairu? Why does not the book of Daniel says, והמשכילים יאירו, and the educated shall illuminate? Why the educated shall shine? What is the difference between illuminating and shining? ואומר, and says, שפירושו, that this, his meaning, or this meaning, that they are illuminating and creating sparks in the angle. Ziva, ziv, comes from zavit, angle. Please pay attention. beziva, zavit, in Hebrew, angle, like we have triangle. Those who illuminate and radiating sparks in the angle of the upper wisdom. Because etzem chokhmah elyona, please pay attention that etzem is not a bone but essence. Again, about Adam and Eve, because we shall meet soon Adam and Eve. Ki etzem chokhmah elyona, because the essence of the upper wisdom we cannot achieve. But אלא רק מבינה שחזרה להיות חוכמה. We cannot achieve the upper wisdom itself. Just this is the step that human can achieve, and this is how he marks in a way our border as humans. אלא רק מבינה שחזרה להיות חוכמה. Only from בינה that returned to be wisdom. How? על ידי חזרתה לראש אריך אנפין. By her returning to the head of אריך אנפין. א' א' is אריך אנפין, או כתר. כתר או infinite or crown. That this considered to be only an angle of the upper wisdom that is considered to be Zohar, splendor, ולא עצם אור החוכמה, and not the essence of the light of wisdom. I would like to make a little diagram to explain. Did we understand what he's trying to say?
Yes, it is amazing.
What
It
is
makes
his,
me
yes.
think about the perspectivism, like I don't know if you're familiar to the idea of the philosophy, the perspectivism, but the idea is that we cannot take it the light from Hokmah itself, let's
Yes.
say,
Mhm.
as a whole, in one glance. We only can take some reflections, only the reflections, that is the Zohar, that is from Binah. This is what come to me is the reflected light and the direct light. I don't know if we could make an analogy with these terms.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
possible.
Yes, yes. We cannot use directly wisdom. We can use only the light that comes from Binah, שחזרה להיות חוכמה, meaning return to be wisdom by returning to infinite, to Arich Anpin, to Keter. And then we have only, what is angle? Ziv. Ziv is like a light that comes from the angle. Ziv come from Zavit. Zavit is an angle. We have triangle. So we have three angles. This, Zavit, angle. So we cannot use, no human can use the essence of wisdom. It's like to use a power that comes from an atom bomb. It will harm us. We can use only the wisdom from Binah that returned to be Keter, שחזרה להיות חוכמה through her turning to Arich Anpin. Arich Anpin is Keter or infinite. And by returning to the infinite, we get only Ziv. Ziv is angle, like this. Not the whole of it we shall burn, only the angle of it. And this angle, Ziv, is Zohar. So, when we say that the educated והמשכילים יזהירו של shine, He says not illuminating. Why the Bible, Daniel write Yazhiru and not illuminate? He says Yazhiru comes from Zohar. Zohar, splendor, comes from Ziv. Ziv comes from Zavit, angle. What is the meaning of angle? We cannot use the whole ball, so to speak, of fire. Only an angle, only Ziv. We can use only the returning light, Zohar.
Eti,
Yes,
regarding this explanation, I remembered now that explanation about the uncle,
yes,
that
true.
diagonal relationship, different from father and mother.
True, true. This is excellent. This is excellent. This is excellent what you bring. There is a saying among the sages that say, I think we have discussed this before, that a student cannot walk directly after his teacher. Did we learn this before? Do you
Yes,
remember?
I remember. Yes.
No. Why? Because the way the spheres are built, if this is the teacher is the infinite, is like, cannot stand exactly behind the teacher. He will get burned. This is a 90-degree angle. Yes? So a student can only wear diagonal.
Yes, diagonal. Yes.
Yes? Yes. Cannot? Yes. Even birds. How do the birds, when they have to fly to a long destination, how do the birds fly? How do they do it?
It's like triangle formation, diagonal formation.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I see Felipe is writing. 1 second, Felipe. Yes, you put a poster from the movie, yes. Yes, I do remember Spielberg movie about the newspaper. Yes, true, about Watergate. When the editor, she was climbing at the stairs and the reporter was going behind her in diagonal. Not directly 90 degrees, but she was climbing the stairs, the editor, and the reporter was going diagonal and after her in the steps. Yes.
So, in this perspective, what Baal HaSulam was presented to us, and the fact that the Zohar is that diagonal light, it's something like that.
Yeah, the Zohar or the splendor is a returning light. It's not a direct light. It's just a spark that comes from an angle. Yes? It's a spark that comes through an angle. Do we understand it?
Yes, I believe that I can get it. Eti. Thank you very much.
Yes. So let's continue. This is why it says, Yazhiru, they will shine from Zohar. Velo ne'emar, and it was not said, Ya'iru, illuminate. Kezohar, like a splendor or like glamorous, meaning, פירושו, הארה, illuminating, והתנוצצות של הנהר היוצא מעדן. Illuminating and sparking of the river that goes out of Eden. Shehi Sod Bina, which is the secret of Bina, Hanal, which is mentioned here. Sheyatz'a Merosh the Arich Anpin, that came out of the head of Arich Anpin, which is crown, Keter, infinite. Shehu Chochma, which is wisdom. Hanikret Eden. It's the first time that we meet this reference that Eden is what? Which sphere is called Eden according to this writing?
Arikanpin?
Yes. Arichanpin is Eden. Arichanpin or Keter crown talui. How do we call it? Yes. Arichanpin is Eden. Yes. And he brings here in a green letters, like it is written, Behakdamat Sefer Hazor. This is abbreviation. Kemo shekatuv, like it is written. He opens. How do you call it in English? How do you call this, Fernando? This angle? I don't have at the moment the term in English. In brackets. In brackets. Yes,
Yes.
Rodrigo. In
Parentheses.
green letters, he is writing, like it is written in the foreword to the book of Zohar, כמו שכתוב, בהקדמת ספר הזוהר, in the foreword to the book of Zohar, daf, page tetvav, tetvav is 15 because they don't write numbers, only letters. דרוש דלת ה' דבר או דיבור המתחיל, a speech which is start maybe, אות letter י"ג 13, והעניין and the matter עיין שם הכתוב, look what is written. Now he explained there in this forward to the book of Zohar why Arichanpin or infinite or crown is called Eden. שבחזרתה, that in her returning, when Binah returns to the head of Arichanpin, נעשתה לחוכמה. When she returns to the head of Arichanpin, she becomes wisdom. And then another brackets. Where is the source to this conclusion? וחוכמה זו שבה, and this wisdom in it, in Binah, 1 second, I would like to see YouTube here. וחוכמה זו שבה, and the wisdom in it, נבחנת רק לזיו החוכמה. Now Binah returns to the head of Arichanpin, and she becomes wisdom. But the wisdom in it, in herself, considered to be only an angle of the wisdom, only a spark of the wisdom. ועל כן, and this is why, נאמר עליה, it is said about her, Binah understanding, כזוהר, like a glamorous. כזוהר, kaf, the letter kaf is like in English, as. When we scale things, we say as, it's like a scale, to put something on a scale. This is why it is said upon it, בינה שחזרה להיות חוכמה, ascended to Arichanpin. Upon her it has been said, כזוהר, like Zohar. שהיא לשון זיו, which is the language or metaphor. לשון, sometimes we read as metaphor, that it is the metaphor of Ziv, like an angle, Ziv. Do we understand this? Or it is too much?
No, I think that it is possible to be
Understood?
to understand easily.
Questions or thoughts?
He is explaining like a dynamic, right? That
Yes.
that is not something scattered, like in the moment that we have the reflected light, uh, it is an angle, okay, it is an angle from the directed light, uh, but it shines like Chokhmah or Ari Hampin. It comes back to the source. It is something like this. I think trying to resume in few words. I don't know if it makes sense what I just said, but
It is. Is it understood? How do you, this is the first time you meet this kind of writing?
yes, yes. It is so deep. It is so deep.
It's amazing reading it, but I must confess that to me sometimes it's how can I say, too abstract,
Mm-hmm.
and so I need some help to understand this higher concepts because sometimes it's not so clear.
Okay, so let's make it easier. Um, Bala Sulam had a dream, and in his books, he's writing that he sensed that he is a reincarnation of Luria, and what people could not understand in Luria's writing, he will explain in his writings. Now, let's look into Luria. Yes?
Yes, yes,
Let's look at letter Bet. Let's see how Luria, who lived 400 years, on the on really precisely 400 years before him, wrote a text, or his student wrote a text. הנה כל האצילות בכללו. Here all Atzilut, nobility, the world of nobility, or the letter Yod, because we just write it on the whiteboard as letter Yod of wisdom, but it's many books of studies. We just write letter Yod and we call it Abba, Chokhmah, or wisdom, but this is world of Atzilut, the world of nobility. הנה כל האצילות בכללו, in its general, גוף ונשמה, body and soul, מלבר ומלגאו, from outside and inside. המשכילים, the educator, the wise one. הם יודעי, there's a mistake here. I think this letter Yod is missing. המשכילים הם יודעי מדין. They know the measures. המסתכלים, who are looking, pondering. Again, you see the relation between משכילים, שכל, אסכולה, school, and מסתכלים, looking, watching. המשכילים, the wise, those who knows measures. מדין, midot, Fernando. We speak about the 7 lower spheres, or midot. יודעי midin, המשתכלים, who are looking in the inner of wisdom, פנימיות החוכמה, התחתונה, the inner lower wisdom, in the secret of the soul. And this is called the secret of wisdom, Raza de Chokhmata. Raz is sod in Hebrew, Raza with Aleph. It's a secret in Aramaic. De Chokhmata, shel HaChokhmah, of the wisdom. פנימיות החוכמה התחתונה, the inner of the lower wisdom. ועל ידי כך, and by this, נהרין ונציצין בזיווה דחוכמתה אילאה. And by doing so, they are streaming and sparkling in the angle of the upper wisdom, because the soul of the lower wisdom, it is the angle and the splendor of the upper wisdom in the secret of Kalat Moshe, the bride of Moses. And here we arrive to the core text of secret. Vehi Hatzela. Hatzela is the rib. You remember in Genesis 2, God took, so to speak, a rib from Adam. Do you remember?
Yes, yes.
So we were speaking about the inner upper wisdom and the lower wisdom, and he explained here, Vehi Hatzela, and she, or it is the rib. What is the rib? Nekudat Yod. The letter Yod in Hebrew we can write like as a dot. I write it like this,
Yes.
but it's also like a dot. Nekudat Yod. Besod Yod barosh ויוד בסוף. Yod barosh, yes, in the beginning,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Yod at the end.
Just
Yod,
like the last class.
yes, Yod משם בין ארבע, Yod משם בין ארבע אותיות. Which name contains 4 letters?
Hashem.
Hashem.
Yes.
Hashem. So we have, I will write it with square writing, it will be easier. A second. Yeah.
This is nice.
Yod from the name of 4 letters. This is the tetragrammaton in blue. And Yod from the name Adonai. Because here it has to be connected. You see?
Yes.
And here, but I did not brought the rest of the text. Venus, yes, I will explain 1 second. And the rest of the text is that we have here 8 letters, and here in the middle between Yod and Yod, we have 6 letters. This is basically Zer Anpin or Tiferet. There's a lot to say about it, but let's converse. I hope you did not drift.
Amazing, Eti. Thank you very much to share.
Venus is writing, share
Could
the
we say?
Yes, please.
Please
Thank you.
continue from Venus.
Please. Venus is writing something very important. Please share this. This is very good. The secret of the Aleph. The Aleph is written with a diagonal line. And then we have upper waters. Mein Dchurin, Fernando. Masculine water. And feminine water. And Zer Anpin, the Vav is connecting. Do you see how the Aleph goes with this writing? Do you see the connection?
Yes.
This is from Luria. Maybe I will connect here 1 second. Questions? Questions?
It is interesting. I am thinking just now that what happened, what we just read in the Baal HaSulam about the relation between Chokhmah and Binah. To me, it seems very similar with this relation between Chokhmah and Malchut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Yod above and the Yod
Yes.
below, because we saw that Binah is, it is a Zohar, it is a reflection, brightness from
Mm-hmm.
the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also the foot of the Hey, the last Yod, it is also a reflection from the upper, but in another level, it is more
Excellent.
distance, right?
Yes, this is it. This is
But
it.
it's the same model, let's say, the same
Yes, yes,
dynamic.
yes. And the stones that the masons reject became, yes, mild.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the hay. This is the yod, and we have hay and vav and hay. And the foot of the hay is the wisdom. Yes, it's the same thing. We cannot use raw wisdom. It has to be refined through the binah. He takes the rib, the yod, and he puts a flesh on it. So first of all, the yod is lowered here, and then he puts a flesh on it, and there's bina, the hay, or depends of how we see it. Yes, yes, it's similar.
And the second thing that came to me,
Yes,
if I may just to finish, Felipe, I'm
yes,
sorry,
yes,
I do
yes.
not want
No,
to take. It's about the reflection, because the reflection is not the thing itself, you know, it is,
Yes.
what I wish to say is that when we see a symbol,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we take the symbol as literal,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not literal, it is just a reflection of some quality, right?
נכון.
I can remember that Felipe shared a dream with me just this weekend, and it is interesting to see the hole in the dream of the symbols, because sometimes you see something that uh, if you take it literal could be a bad thing, but if you see the symbol, the
Mm-hmm.
reflected light, it is another thing completely different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking about this. Since we do not have the direct light, we have
Mm-hmm.
always to know that it's just an angle, right? And
Yes,
you
yes,
have to
yes,
go beyond.
yes, yes. In a way, it's like where's the Aleph? A dream is like here. Where is it? The dream is here. And through the angle, we cannot access directly to a dream. Just through an angle, just through a symbol. Something interesting, I also had a dream 2 nights ago. Um, at the beginning, um, it was a dream that before the corona, we used to visit a family in Germany, and we used to take walks, and there was a certain angle of a village there that it appears in the dream, and from this angle, I could see. I look and I see the mountain, and from the mountain, many, many sheep are descending from the mountain to drink. It was very, very dark night, and many, many sheep were coming, and I just look and I see many continues to just flow from the mountain. And we had this in the dream. We lived in the apartment. There was a little balcony, and I see so many sheep, so many are coming, and it's so dark. Maybe I'll bring a camera in the dream, but I said, but it's too dark. I cannot take pictures. So when I woke up, I understood in Hebrew you say camera matzlema. Matzlema, it holds the letters of Tselem. Tselem. One second, I'll write it here. I'll move to a pen. Matzlema. Matzlema. If you take the beginning and in the end, Mem and Hey, we have in the middle Tselem. And I started, it just rings a bell in my head because there's a completely a section of articles by Luria called Drushe Tselem, the teaching of the Tselem, the teaching of the image of God. And I was reading it. And yesterday when Rodrigo was writing about, he was asking about the difference between a tzaddik and an educated one. And he continues to write on Discord. And I just opened Drushe Tselem and I wrote to Rodrigo a certain paragraph, one or two. So I don't know what this dream means, but as a Matzlema camera reminds me of Drushe Tselem.
It is amazing because Tselem is an image and the Ma is Adam.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
image of Adam.
The image of Adam. Yes. And the Tselem, by the way, the tzaddik of the Tselem, and this is what Luria says, that the tzaddik of the Tselem, a tzaddi, the letter tzaddi of the Tselem, the tzaddi is 90. And the tzaddi holds 2 times ma, because ma, each ma is 45, he says. And he says Zer Anpin, in a way, is a tzaddik. Yesod of Zer Anpin is a tzaddik, and he holds twice ma. This is interesting. This is why Joseph could see his father, feel the presence of his father. This is it. I heard you were speaking about it yesterday, about the range that suddenly he could feel his father when the wife of Potiphar was present.
Mhm.
This is it. He was Joseph Ma at the house of Potiphar, but he could feel his father, Jacob, as Ma as well. And while there was a connection between Joseph and Jacob, Ma and Ma, this is the 90, this is the tzaddik of the tzaddik, this is why he could retreat. And Joseph and the father Jacob remembers this retreat, and when he blesses the children in Genesis 49, he mentioned the keshet, the ark, which is like retreats back. Do we understand that?
Yes, it is. It is quite interesting. It is quite beautiful. 2 times the man.
Yes, that we talked about this yesterday in the Zohar meeting, and I quote this passage from Rabbi Abba
Mm-hmm.
and in the presence of Jacob, the house of Potiphar, Joseph, and well, I know it's written in the Zohar, but for me, it still is. How can I say? I have some difficulties to get the point. I know there is many relations between Joseph and Jacob, but how can I say? Not clear to me how he made this how Rabbi Abba could say this. How could he identify the presence of Jacob in that room? And I know it's written. I know we find another explanations and another and a lot of connections to support his his
Mm-hmm.
his thinking. But I must confess to me, it's still a mystery. It is still a mystery to me. But I know that is written.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, Iti.
Yes, please, please.
Since the tzadi is two times man, right?
Yes.
Sometimes Luria speaks about the double spirit, like to have a new soul. He
Mm-hmm.
speaks that on Shabbat everybody receives a new soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and I and Rodrigo is mentioning here that Joseph was not alone in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, like you showed to us. We could say that he has a double soul, an additional soul that was from his father. It is possible to relate these themes that like to the tzaddik is the one who has a double soul. He's two times a man because he has an additional soul,
Additional or lemala and
just like
lemata.
what.
Yes, yes, it is like yetera, like extra soul. Yeah, yes, yes. He's also yes, yes, yes.
I was thinking before we end the session today that when you mentioned angle, I was thinking in English the word angle is spelled almost identical to angel.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is the last two letters are changed, and with an angle, it's a relationship between two lines, um, but it also can be a verb. Both words are noun, can be nouns, but the angel is usually a celestial being, whereas an angle can be a noun, but it also can be a verb. Um, it can refer to the relationship between two lines, but it also can refer to a person's perspective
True,
or view of things. So someone has a certain angle on something.
true.
So I just thought it was interesting that the two words are similar. And then I thought about Jacob's dream, and there was the angels were descending, going back and forth, and the angle was moving upwards, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It was an upward angle, a slope.
True, true. We shall see specifically now with the Zohar Exodus, Zohar Parashat Shmot, how the angels are starring whenever the name Jacob is mentioned in the Zohar. We shall see immediately a flow of angels in the Zohar, because the meaning of Jacob at 182 is two angels. Malach is 91 angel, and two angels are the value of Jacob. So whenever we shall see the name Jacob in the Zohar, we can expect a flow of angels. In a way, and this is how also Jacob blesses the children of Joseph, the angel who redeemed me from any evil. המלאך הגואל אותי מכל רע יברך את הנערים, will bless the children or the boys. He blesses Joseph's children with the blessing of the angel, which is part of his name. And when a person in certain experience can experience a different angle, meaning not himself and the event itself. Let's say a person goes to buy a coffee. So just stand, buy a coffee. So he sees himself standing in a line or just taking the cup of coffee. So we could look at it as a two-dimensional. I just came to buy a coffee, but if at the moment he buys a coffee, he thinks about another idea, about another person which is not present at the moment, this is a third dimension. This is completely different angle. And this completely different angle caused him, and I now speak not about the coffee, about Joseph, he could have another angle, another dimension. There was another space to include a higher perspective, not 6-time perspective as his name, Joseph, but 7 times the tetragrammaton. Another perspective, the one, not 6 times. There was a space in him to feel the one. Because Joseph is 6 times 26 and Jacob is 7 times 26, but 26 sums up to Aleph. The tetragrammaton, if we squeeze them up, it's basically the Aleph is diagonal Vav plus 2 yods, it's 26 like the tetragrammaton. So he had a space to feel the Aleph, the one, not just himself and Potiphar. And he considered to be to the sages like he saw and felt the presence of his father, the presence of the one. Do we understand that?
Yes, Eti, thank you.
Yes.
Think
Once, yes,
I was thinking. Go ahead.
yeah. Once a person does not think of himself for one moment, there's another space for him to experience many, many other things, other dimensions, angles, and so.
I was thinking that Jacob was connected also with Joseph in that he recognized that his son was all of the apart from all the other sons had this ability to dream, and that both of them were affected. Their perspectives were changed by the dreams that they had. Jacob, in the sense that he dreamt about the angels ascending and ascending, and when he awoke from the dream, he said that God was in this place and he did not know it. And Joseph was affected by the dream in that he felt after he had the dream that he had a compulsion to share it with his brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and it shaped his life and how he moved in the world.
True. In a way, he is the only one. Joseph gets the turning from the father, that the father calls him Bni, my son. Joseph has this respect that the father calls him Bni, my son. Yadati Bni Yadati, I know, my son, I know that you had this experience in Egypt. Yadati Bni Yadati. All the rest of the children, the Zohar says, they are tribes. They're children of Jacob's, but they are tribes. They occupy the many. But only one gets this special relation of Bni, my son. Why does he call him Bni? The value of Bni, Ben, son is 52. Bni, my son, is 62. With the 1 is 63. 63 is the name Sag, which related to Sfirat Bina. Only Joseph gets the name Bni, my son, because he has the perspective of the one. He doesn't have self-interest like the other tribes. They look and see just a part of the picture. He sees the whole picture. This is why he calls him my son. Israel loved Joseph. Yes, yes. Questions or thoughts before we seal this conversation?
Just to thank you, Eti. I was listening and thinking about a lot of topics and insights, and Venus just sum it up for me. He speaks about the Yosef to add, and I was just thinking that Israel, Jacob has two names. He has he um, when he got the name Israel, he still is called Jacob. He doesn't change name. He has an addiction of a name, and I was just thinking about it. So, yet he has like a double aspect of human human in Jacob and tree of life in Israel.
True, true,
Just a topic to think about.
true.
And thank you so much, so much.
Thank you so much for
Hel-
reading Venus words.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Hello. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Um, I have heard also there is a relationship between Jacob and Yeshua and Jesus and the ministry that happened and the dual aspect as well.
Yes, yes, yes. There is. Yes, there is a relation between numbers and letters. Yes, that's true. I would like to say thank you also to Venus who wrote, and thank you, Felipe, for reading it for us. Yosef means to add. We can regress name too. So he could retreat. It means to add, but he could also retreat. This is what you mean, Venus? It's beautiful. It is very beautiful. I would like to thank all of you for being here with us today. It was unusual conversation, lesson, reading. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions or thoughts or things that you would like to change, please write. We shall take things into consideration. And thank you so much.
And Eti, thank you for sharing your songs and beautiful melodies on YouTube. It was quite a surprise to listen to it, and I'm sure that it made many people happy to hear it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You inspire us. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and
Thank you so much.
I hope we could see you tomorrow if you have time.
Yes, it was amazing. Thank you very much. Thank all our friends on Discord and YouTube. Shalom, shalom, and see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Shalom, shalom.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.